We're having issues with going live right now. I had used this last time, but there appears to be something that I missed. And I'm surprised because it's not capturing my screen the way it's supposed to. It's not capturing my screen the way it's supposed to capture it. So I think we're just going to start. It's also an opportunity to wait for others who signed up, but actually this is supposed to end by 6 on the dot. Okay, we're just going to start then. I guess we won't be streaming this. Let me just stop the live stream right now. But favor, if you can, please go ahead to record this so we can maybe post it on YouTube later. So, but for now, we'll just go on. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining. Usually, I do this very fast, but I had a little bit of an issue with my streaming. So we're just going to start, and we're starting a bit later than I hoped. But I hope you guys can hear me. I hope you can see my screen. Please let me know in the chat if you can hear me and also see my screen. Let me know in the chat if you can hear me and if you can see my screen. Just type yes, 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 yes. Okay, cool. So I always start by telling you exactly what to expect. So now we are 8 minutes in, meaning that I'm going to be cutting short the time I'll be spending with you. But usually I would talk about the whole topic and the reason why you're here for 35 minutes, share with you any next steps that I have, and give 10 minutes for questions. And within 5 minutes, we are all out of here. So, but I'll still ensure that we do this within an hour, right? So a little bit of an introduction. I'm Temidayo Salako, and some of you probably joined via somebody's referral, my LinkedIn post, or somewhere, somehow, or maybe you met me somewhere. But I would also still, introduce myself officially. I am Temidayo Salako, and I am passionate about economic transformation in Africa and investing in Africans, which is why we are here right now. Currently, I lead the marketing unit and do business development and international recruitment at Tunga. Tunga is an international recruitment company for African software engineers. And in my spare time, I like to keep fit and I also love to have intellectual conversations. Can you guys introduce yourself? I know I don't have time for this, but we are not so many. So I'd like for you guys to put your name. My name is, and I'm joining from, just put in the chat, please. My name is, I'm actually joining from Lagos, by the way, so since I didn't mention that. So can you just put in the chat, I am Pelumi Aisha, I'm joining from this place. In the next like 30 seconds. Just want to, give a shout out to everyone who is joining. Hi, Ore, joining from Lagos. Thank you for joining. Hi, Sarah from Lagos. Okay, thank you for joining. Hi, Jessica. Thanks for joining. Maybe one more person. One more person. Just type your name and where you're joining from. Hi, Aisha, joining from London. Passionate about youth development and meeting new people. Lovely. Hi, Pelumi from Oyo State. Thank you so much for joining. I really hope that the next 50 minutes would be very, very valuable to you and to your career and transformational as well, because I mean, that's why I'm here, right? Okay, so I'm just going to start. I actually do not like ceremony. So unfortunately, this whole streaming not happening just got me a bit off balance. So I'm going to tell you a bit about my story. And as I go along the line, I'm going to also tell you what you can do, as you either start your career journey or transition through different phases of your career, or as you're making decisions, at this phase of your life and your career, at whatever junction, at whatever point. I'm so sure that you're going to find something to hold on to here. So I always like to follow the storytelling mode because I'm trying to also build my skills in storytelling. And I also like to be very realistic. So I'm not going to be telling you so many, jargon or uh, just buzzwords. I'm actually going to tell you the real truth of how I did it and then how you can do it, right? So the world has changed from what we used to know it, right? When we were younger, probably when some of you were in primary school or secondary school, the path of your career was sort of very, very it was quite strict, right? It was go to school, go to secondary school, go to choose either arts, commercial or arts, go to the university, study a prestigious course or a good enough course, get a job, and move on with your life. But the story is no longer the same. And I'll tell you how mine was mine too is like, no longer as straight as we used to think when we were younger. So I also went to school like, all of you here, went to secondary school, went to science class, hoping that I was going to study medicine. I mean, it was sure. All you have to do is go to school, study the medicine, and start working in a hospital. So the path was so sure. There was no uncertainty. There was no doubt. There was no thinking twice. It was so clear what was going to happen after you left school. Now, for most Nigerians or most Africans, what happens, what sort of cuts off that journey is either of two things. Is either they get into that course and they lose interest in it, right? Or it's actually three things. Either they get into the course and they lose interest in it, or they do not even get the course at all and they get another course that they are not even interested in. Or the third thing is they get into the course, they have interest in it, they enjoy their experience, and after they are done, they don't get a job. So three things. Is either you get into the course that you thought you would love, but you lost interest, or you don't even get into the course at all and you were given something else, or you decided to study a course in school that you have no interest in. You just did it so as to, say that you're also a graduate. Or the third thing would be you did what you really desired to do and you don't get a job, to actually work out what you've learned in school. Now, a lot of us or some people have actually experienced, any of this, and I experienced the first one. I no, actually, it's like a mix of the first and the second, right? So I went into school thinking I was going to get into medicine, and starting out, I did all I could, tried my best, put in my best effort, didn't get the medicine. I got offered a different course. I decided to try again. So I was one of those few people that wrote jam again in 100 level because I was thinking medicine is just the way to go. I didn't get it again. I got something else. So I said, okay, why not? Let me cross to something that is close to medicine, or at least a, should I say, subsidiary, so that by the time I'm done, I'm going to go into medicine. I'm going to, get a job, and the future will be certain. Lo and behold, I put in for physiology. I loved it. I mean, I love learning. Like, I'm a good student and all that. I enjoyed reading. But by the time I got into 400 level and I was going to have this industrial training, I'm talking like this, I know we're all Nigerians here. So the educational system is quite like, same across the board. We understand how it works. By the time I was in 400 level, it's a 5-year course. I did industrial training. I realized that this is not what I want to do. I was working in a lab and I was like, no, I don't want to spend the rest of my life working in a laboratory. I don't want to spend the rest of my life doing just this because it was boring to me. I just didn't have an interest in it. I didn't see how it didn't spark anything in me. It didn't bring up that fire of interest. So I said, okay, what else can I do? And but that was not even the first place my questioning started. My questioning has started in 200 level when I didn't get the medicine. I started to think, okay, what else will I do with this course? So by the time I was done with physiology, luckily for me, I got an employment in 400 level to work in an innovation hub, so a tech environment, and I started to build my career in tech. But I'll still tell you how I started, really, really, because it will seem like a sweet story, right? I just got the job in 400 level, and I just got into tech, and everything was fine. No, it wasn't. So because it was quite difficult to be able to figure out exactly where I fit in into all of this. And not only that, you are not just thinking of where you fit in, you're also thinking of what path will actually give you income, because you need money as an adult. As a child or as a teenager, you might not really be thinking about that. You might be thinking about passion and all of that. But as an adult, you are looking for, okay, where can I make the money? And like most people always say right now, tech is the new oil. That's why everybody wants to get into tech. I don't really support that. Don't get into tech because you think money is there and all of that. There are so many places right now. So all of those things were questions that I had to ask myself, because my journey is so similar to many of you guys and many Nigerians and Africans today. We are thrown into a system where choices are taken away from us, or even if we're given the choices, the opportunities are so few and limited, and we don't even know where we fit in at different junctions. Now, I had to come to the understanding that my career is something that doesn't necessarily have to be a linear journey. So the way we were brought up, like I said when I started, it's like we thought go to school, get a job, and just live happily ever after. Linear. But actually, in today's world, it's like sinusoidal. And sinusoidal and zigzag, like you can actually go in different direction and still be somebody who can be classified as successful in life. And that's the mindset that I want us to take on at the end of this. Right? I want to show you how you can define your own career path, not just by a single course of study or a single linear journey of down a path where you are interested in, but actually cumulating experiences to create value for yourself and for the society, and realize that not only are you able to make the money, you also have fulfillment. And I'm going to tell you, it's just a true story, right? So when I was in 200 level, I started an NGO because I felt I had passion for impacting people. Like most people will say, many people that I've spoken with one-on-one will tell me, I just want to impact people. I just want to empower people. I also had the same vibe, the same energy. I wanted to do that. So I started a mini NGO. I've started to do something around that. I ran that for about a couple of years and I stopped. But that experience really exposed me to a portion of myself that not just wanted to impact people, but wanted to bring resources to people, wanted to be able to give people access to opportunities. So that was there. I was still in my physiology, mind you. And then on and on, I moved at the junction where I was going to make a decision. Should I stay in physiology? Should I move? Should I do this or should I do that? I decided that, okay, let me finish my course and I don't really have to work with this by the time I'm done. And then I got an opportunity to train some people in Google Digital Skills for Africa. If you are old enough, you probably know about it, and if you are not, you might not know. So Google was training everybody on how to use Google's digital skills, all of their tools and stuff like that. I didn't know anything about it, to be honest. And to be honest, I didn't like tech. I didn't like anything called tech. I felt it was too complicated and all of that. I don't know if there's somebody like that here who feels like it's too complicated and difficult. So I did the training because I just love talking to people. So remember, I held the event. I loved giving opportunities to people, and then here I was being able to train people on something that will be useful for them, another way to give access to opportunities to people. And once I was done with that, I was just involved in some mini stuff in school, leadership stuff, volunteering here and there. And out of the blues, I got invited to start an innovation hub, or innovation and enterprise hub, together with somebody and a much older person, to start it up from scratch, right where I was as a student. Now, what really distinguished me is it that I've decided that I want to work in an innovation hub, Is it that I've even chosen a career path? No, I hadn't. I hadn't made a conscious decision on exactly what I was going to do. Remember, I was still in 400 level. And then I got into it and I realized, oh, I mean, even if I do not use this thing after school, at least I've been able to give myself access to experiences. Remember, all I wanted to do was to what? Create access to opportunities for people. So if you've listened from the start of my story from 200 level to 400 level, you realize that something is consistent. My desire to what? Create access to opportunities. Now, this desire pointed me in the direction of the path that I could choose, because it's always a choice, right? So it pointed me in the direction of a path that I could choose. So when I saw this opportunity, I realized, oh, this resonates with me because it will allow me to create access to opportunities for people. That resonates with me because it will allow me to create access to opportunities for people. And on I went. So, and I was there in that company for about 5 years, I think. And afterwards I moved on. And let me tell you something interesting before I go to my slides. I think the stories are more vital so that you know that if you see people on LinkedIn, if you see people on the stage somewhere, they are not people who have figured it all out, right? It's not like everything was just smooth, it was just linear. I don't think in today's world anybody's journey is linear, at least compared to the past generations. Nobody's journey is linear. You have to accept that. You have to accept it for yourself, because if you refuse to accept it, you realize that you feel more confused, and a confused person cannot actually move in any direction. They'll probably just moving in circles, right? So I by the time I had spent 5 years here, I'd graduated, done my NYSC with the company and everything. But I had grown, man. I had really, really grown, gained a lot of skills in different aspects. I'm still going to talk a bit about that, how that also confused me a little bit anyway. And by the time I was leaving, I was like, okay, so what job am I going to apply for now? I was also confused again at that junction. Right, for 5 years, I knew what I was doing, I had a direction. But at the junction where I knew I need to transition again, I got confused again. But what did I remind myself? The reason why I'm doing it. To what? Give access to opportunities to people. So it helped me to know what kind of jobs to apply for. Now, I will tell you a definition, but let me say it now. Oh, it's here already. Career is not actually a job. It's a set of interests. So do not try to box yourself into a particular space saying that, oh, this is exact the only place where I can function. Because in truth, you are the one who is the real value. You are the input into the system. I'm going to talk a bit about this, more about that a little later. So I did not actually choose a career path at the beginning. For people who are just starting out, you are an undergraduate, for example, a fresh graduate who has not really thought about these things. While for some of you, maybe you've already started, so this particular path is not really for you. If you're an undergraduate trying to make a decision, know that it's not first of all about setting off on something that is just so certain. You already know exactly where you're going and you're just forging ahead. You're waiting for that time when you have that eureka moment and you feel, oh, this is where I'm going to. I've actually met several people who told me yesterday that they want to do product management, and today they are like, no, I think it's business analysis, and tomorrow they're like, no, I think it's digital marketing. It's not necessarily because, first of all, they are confused. It's first of all because they are trying to determine their starting point from an entirely wrong perspective. We're trying to determine your starting point from a role that was created by somebody. You are supposed to determine your starting point from what kind of value you believe that you are inherently created to give, or to build, or to create. What kind of value do you believe that you can create? Then you can begin to choose your path based on that. Then you can find your niche, and you don't even have to look for fancy names to package it. That's another mistake that I made. I was trying to look for a name that captured everything. Sometimes when you're searching for a job, just one tip for job search: don't start with the job title, start with the job description to see whether you can actually work in that role. Don't start with, oh, except for some very established maybe roles and you have gotten specific training in that line, fine. But the best way, I realize, to find the job that fits you the most is to look at the job description, not even the title. Sometimes if you look at the title, you might think you are not a fit, but if you look at the job description, you are actually a fit. right? So that's just an aside if you're searching for a job. So I did not actually start out choosing a career path because I mean I was going down the line on medicine, but I found myself in tech somehow, right? But it chose me. But it didn't just choose me randomly. It chose me because I was aware of who I was, of the kind of value I wanted to create, access to opportunities. And self-awareness, let me just touch a bit on that. It's something that has been with me for a long time, and it has helped me make a lot of decisions when it comes to career. So I don't just apply to every job just because I want to make more money. Because if you do that, you realize that you're unable to find a place to fit in that particular job into the entire scope of who you see yourself becoming decades from now. It will look as if you are just really utterly wasted your time. You'll be unable to determine what kind of value that particular opportunity has added to you. So I spent a lot of time getting acquainted with myself as I grew. So it's not like there'll be one time where you just sit down, you just want to discover yourself. I know Westerners do that a lot. Maybe they have the luxury to do that. But yeah, now, actually, the journey of discovery is continuous. So it's not one time when you sit or when you just, of course, you might, want to separate yourself at different points. You want to go on a retreat, whatever. But just know at the back of your mind that you keep changing as you go. You keep evolving. You keep becoming a different person, slightly different person, because your exposure is increasing, your experiences are increasing, your interactions are increasing. So getting acquainted with yourself is something that is continuous. And I'm telling you this because I'm also experiencing it. So that's basically how I started, or the starting point for me on my career path. So I had no idea where I was going at the beginning. I was just really going with the flow. And I hope some of you would be happy to hear that right now, if in case you are experiencing the same thing. Now to where I am. So how did I land where I am? How did I get here? Well, I remember when I was 25, a few years ago, I asked myself, where do I want to be in 25 years? I was sitting in my room. I remember that day very clearly. Where do I want to be in 25 years? And I tried to create a vision in my head. Say, okay, I think I tried to do a day in the life. I think I wrote it down or something like that. I'm going to be this, and in my typical day, this kind of, I'm going to go to work and do this. I'm going to do this with my family. I'm going to do that. Those are some of the questions that I ask myself that sort of solidifies the kind of person, not only that I want to be, but I want to be perceived as. Why? I'm able to envision the life I want for myself. And that helps me. You see, it's not even first of all about you applying for anything. Let me just be honest with you. Because you will not really know the height of your value if you're always pursuing stuff without really solidifying, having a solid understanding of who you are and where you want to be in life, right? So don't first of all start pursuing things. So I asked myself that question at 25. In 25 years, where am I going to be? What do I want to be doing? And that sort of just concretized my desire to create access to opportunities. It concretized my desire to help people grow, to empower people. All I had to be doing was now, okay, what are the opportunities that are available to me in my environment that could help me do this, right? And once I looked at those opportunities, it widened my scope to the kind of jobs I can apply for, whether I want to apply for a fellowship, whether I want to go for a master's degree or what have you. And not only that, it also helped me to grow my skills. I'll also tell you a little bit about my journey within that company that I said hired me, because that journey was quite transformational in how it helped me to build the foundations of my career. It made me a multidisciplinary person, such that I can actually function almost anywhere within a startup. And I'll tell you how that helped me to keep my job just last year, working with a national company, which was an entirely different environment. So you see, it's not even about where I was coming from, it's about where I'd become based on where I was coming from. That's how I've been making career choices, not a one-time thing. It's a continuous thing that you do. But you cannot do it continuously if you are not well acquainted with yourself. So I told you where I started from. Where am I right now as you are looking at me? Right now, I have a vision for Africa, which I shared when I started. If I wanted to do like a giveaway, I would have asked some of you here that what did I say about that? So I have a vision for Africa. I want to improve the economic status of an average African. I want to create opportunities for them. and invest in them in whatever way. And I have a few projects running to do just that. Even my job, I'm staying in my job because of that. My job is retaining me because of that, because they know what I stand for. So I'm able to continuously create value there because I have that vision. It's not dependent on where the company I'm working with. It's me that determines the kind of vision that I have. And every company that hires me is confident I can create value for them because I have a vision that is beyond the company in itself. And then I decided that, okay, what are the opportunities that will get me there? That's why I applied for my current role. And that's why I even got it, I believe. And now I'm actually creating those opportunities for Africans. Aside from the fact that I work for a recruitment company that helps African software engineers to get remote job opportunities, the fact that I'm holding this, see, anything that is free is truly not, is actually not free. Even salvation is not really free. The deployment of it is not free. So you see, the fact that I'm doing this is also another avenue to create more opportunities for African. Because if somebody gets like some level of clarity about how to forge ahead today, I can't even measure how far you can go, right? So that's what I'm doing here today. And because of this, I excel at everything. And I'm not even bragging. I excel at everything. So some of us, you find it difficult to be really good at what you are doing because you are trying to put the cart before the horse. You are trying to just land one big job with a lot of money, but you've not even understood whether you are really interested in it. You have not seen whether it aligns with your interests, whether you can stay there long enough, whether you can practice long enough to gain mastery at it. You've not really determined how that job connects to the overall picture you have, the vision you have for yourself 25 years from now. So it's difficult for you to be really, really good because you are disinterested in what you are doing. So you are not able to go the extra mile to develop yourself. So you see why it's not first of all about the job. Career is not a job, but a set of interests that helps you to determine the kind of job that you do, right? So I excel at everything because of that. And I understand how value exchange works. Now, if I'm talking now, you might have a misconceived notion that I'm all about just impact and no money. My brothers and sisters here, see, everything I do, I think also about the kind of value that I'm getting. Now, so it's not every time is monetary because I believe that if something is not give and take, there is no ecosystem. There will be a breach. So let me go a bit into biology. So if rain was not falling, the plants will not have water to grow, or the ground will not have water to grow plants, and man will not have food to eat. And if man doesn't have food to eat, they won't, release excreta or whatever to make plants grow again. So that cycle has to continue. And that's why there has to be value exchange. So I'm not just going to be at a job or choose a job just because they're going to pay me, but I'm also going to choose it because I'm going to do something for them. So I understand that as I'm doing something for you, you are also doing something for me. It has to be an ecosystem so that it can be what continuity. It's not because, see, if somebody gives me something for free, I know that it's not truly free. I'm indebted to the person. A portion of me is indebted to the person such that it's just goodwill capital. Yeah, let me put it out. If you know that word very well, that person has just earned some goodwill capital at the back of my heart. Even though they gave it for free, they didn't ask for monetary payment, but they've earned goodwill capital such that tomorrow, if the person needs my help or needs a referral or just needs a good word somewhere, I will not hesitate to give it. So you see, there's always some form of value given in exchange for value. Well, we are not talking about that today. But what I'm trying to say is that for you to really identify your career path, you also have to be well acquainted on a value for value system. You have to be very well acquainted with the value for value system. How can you create value and how can they give you value in return so that there can be continuity? So I'm holding this right now because I know that if you succeed some way or the other, maybe one of you, two of you can influence inflation issues in Nigeria, and maybe the rest of us can have some, level of rest from that. So I do not know the extent to which this session, would go in each person's life. It's free, like I said, but it's not actually free. Yeah. So I mean, it doesn't come free. It doesn't come free. A lot of resources went to it. But I do know that you are going to create some form of value that would somehow come back to me, to my family, to my society, to my community, whatever. And then finally, where I am right now is that I'm committed to lifelong learning. So last year, my company laid off a lot of staff, or a huge portion of their staff. It's a small company, but they laid off a lot of people, like most companies, including the Google and the Meta that some of you want to work at. In fact, this year, I think Jumia still laid off some people in Kenya, like maybe last week or this week. I saw it in one of these newsletters. So some of your dream companies are laying off people, and not because these people are not talented, right? It's either of two things. It's either they lay off a really good person, but the person will not stay down for too long. The person will immediately be able to stand up again because they are good. But there will be some of them who do not actually have values to create. So which of these kind of people do you want to be? No job is, in quotes, permanent nowadays. But you can determine how permanent you want your success to be. Your success should not be hinged upon a job. Your career should not be hinged upon a company, but upon the kind of value you can create. And that's what I want you to discover. Because once you discover it, people will look for you. How did I get my first job at that company I said a 400 level? It's because they've seen some of the things that I had done voluntarily. And I'm still going to tell you about volunteering. I had built my skills in such a way that it's obvious that I'm a highly organized person. I could communicate very well. I mean, where the CEO then met me was where we're having like a pitch. It was an event and we're pitching ideas. Then there used to be these innovation challenges and stuff. People used to hold it very well, even much more than today. And I was just there. I was leading the team. We're not going to get paid from it, but it got me a job. It got me a job that didn't just bring monetary value, but that determined the very foundations of my career. I learned project management. In fact, I learned almost all the skills that I have today from that company. Just because within a small group of people in a random event, I was the leader. I showed that I could speak, and so they made me the leader and they made me the person to speak on behalf of the team. I think my team won that competition that day. And that person saw me, I caught his attention, and he reached out to me. That's how I got it. So it's not just handed to you. It's because you are seen to be able to create some form of value for them, and that's why they will hand you opportunities. And that's why at the beginning of your career, the way to make the best choice is to determine where you best create value. Don't try to work in any other person's shoes, and don't try to jump into jobs just because. Where can I first create value? Because I want to show you some questions you can ask yourself to help you move along this path, I will move very fast. So now, where am I going to? I'm not going to spend so much time on this. I've realized that I'm not limited to a job or a single stream of income, right? And I am the impact on the system, not vice versa. That's a bold statement to make, but like I said at the beginning, I'm going to tell you exactly how I do it. What gives me the confidence that is beyond the market, that is beyond the global recession happening. I learned recently that Europe is down, it's not even recent. Europe has actually been experiencing some recession, especially the Netherlands. And then I learned recently that Japan is also experiencing the same things. Now, these are the giants of the world. If they're experiencing recession, what will happen to a country like Africa? What do you think, guys? Of course, our inflation is just going through the roof and things are getting expensive by the day, but not everybody is suffering. That's the secret. Not everybody is suffering. I have to just be plain with you guys. So you should not be limited to the ecosystem. You should be the influence on the system, not the system influencing you. And that's the kind of career people that we need to have. People who can create value regardless of what's happening around them. That's why I'm emphasizing that you have to understand what value you can create and you build upon it. And where am I going? I can function in any part of the ecosystem because I know the kind of skills that I have is not just limited to some job titles that I have had. I've had COO somewhere, operations manager somewhere, project manager, business analyst. I've had technical recruiter. I've had now I'm head of marketing. Now, this all seem very scattered, right? So many places. But I have to tell you the truth, I've gained experience in all of these places, meaning that I can actually function in most industries. So, and now, where am I going also? I want to be a voice for policies that affect Africans. Why? Because I want to create access to opportunity. So, you see, everything still ties to the same single thread. And that's what will keep opening up doors for me, for jobs, for any form of opportunity that I so desire. So, and I always think what I want to be doing at 80, but I don't have time to go into that right now. I want to give you guys some questions that you can ask yourself. Okay, but before the questions, I want you to consider these frameworks. Now, if you have a pen and paper, or you have your phone there, I want you to type out these things as I go through them one after the other. The frameworks you need to consider. Number one, you need to realize that you are in a discovery process, right? You are discovering yourself as you grow. Because if you think that the value you create 2 years ago is the same kind of value you create today, it means you are shortchanging yourself. In fact, you should not be earning the same thing you were earning 2 years ago or 5 years ago today, because your value should have actually increased, ideally. And it doesn't have to be this monetary value. Like I said, there are several values that can be coming to you that is beyond the money. Because I said it in an event I spoke at on Saturday. I didn't start out working with my company, with the company I was working with a salary. I was not earning anything, right? So discover yourself as you grow. That will help you determine the kind of jobs that you fit into. It will help you determine which part of the career you want to fall into at different portions. And let me quickly say this. I started as an operations manager, and I was made the CEO of that company I was working with, right? But within that role, I was doing things like Canva design. I was doing things like I was a product lead for a mobile application that we created and launched. And not only was I the product lead in terms of the technicalities of building the application, I was also the one who launched it, that is doing the marketing part of things. Now, this was not even part of my job description, but I did it because I was going to need it. Now, today, I was offered the role as head of marketing. Where do you think the experience that qualified me for that role came from? It came from there, because I was always seeking opportunity to grow. So even though the job script, I didn't limit myself within a certain job description. I just thought, okay, what am I interested in? I was happy to market that mobile application back then. I was leading a team of like 20 people. Half of them were volunteers. That's the difficult thing. So I'm also a good team leader. So these were skills that helped me to not just secure a job later, but also retain it. So when they were laying off people, they could not lay me off as a result, because there was something that I was creating for them. So determine exactly what you can create value with for people, and you see that it's bringing back value to you and also opportunities. And thirdly, pursuing your interests. I think I've talked a bit about that. Creating for value, I've talked a bit about that. Then to be a master, do it over and over again. Practice, you can't overemphasize practicing. You have to learn to practice. So what you already know, work on it again and again. Do it for free, do it for payment, do it for whatever, and you will see yourself improving. Now, writing. I need to tell you the story of how writing was actually the key skill that helped me to keep my job last year. Writing was what gave me access to become head of a department. I mean, just writing. Who will just say content writing now? Content writing. And I'm telling you that that was a skill that was seen, not just content writing, also content creation. Because I was creating content by myself on the side for free. Just the way I'm doing for you guys right now. I was doing it for free. And when my company was going to lay off people, they realized that the way you were creating content now, like where did they want to? Where was I before they put me where I am right now? I was a business unit lead. And if you are well acquainted, business unit lead is more of the sales account management part, while marketing is an entirely different ballgame. And they said, we saw how we've been creating content and all of that, and we felt you will be a good fit. You'll be a good fit for this role. And they laid off like almost everybody in that department. They created a new department, and I was the lead. So you see, I was writing on the side for free, just doing stuff, just creating content. It's not easy for a content creator, you know that. It's not easy, and doing a lot of things, but I was learning. I was just mastering the skill on my own side, just enjoying myself. Remember, I said interest. Now, the fact that is you are interested does not mean to not be difficult. So as I said, content creation is not easy. So the fact that it's your interest does not mean that it's going to be easy. But if you master it, you're going to stand out. You're going to be able to create value, and people will look for you. Then don't sweat it. Your life is very long. Don't try to figure everything out today, right? We are going to a Q&A, so I'd like you guys to drop your questions already in the comments, so that Favor can collate for me. Now, with all of these frameworks, I hope you're able to get down these frameworks to think about later. So this is a master class, right? So it's not a one-on-one coaching. So that's why I'm not spending so much time on each of them. I just want my stories to stick to you so that you can go apply it later. So questions you can begin to ask yourself now to move on from here. It is, what has been my experiences in the past? On the average, I don't think anybody is below 16 years. In all your 16 years, you've probably volunteered somewhere. You've served maybe as an undergraduate in one society group, one community, or one church, or one mosque, or somewhere. You've already done some volunteer work. I think you should do a curation of all of that experiences. I do it sometimes, not just in my head. I write it down. Just, okay, what have I done? I have books. You will see, in fact, if I show you some of my books, you see some at different junction. I've done that. I did that maybe like at 20 years old, at 25. I've been doing it again and again just to determine the next level. What has been your experiences? Now, what comes naturally to you? Ask yourself, what are the things that I just do? Don't first of all think about whether it will bring money or whether people are hiring for that. That's not your starting point. Everybody here, that's not your starting point anymore. It's not about whether people are hiring for it. Like I said, if I apply to be a writer, maybe I'll not be getting the payments or the salary that I'm earning right now. But just because I was doing that, it came naturally to me. It helped me to retain, not only to retain my job, but to be earning what I'm earning right now for doing what most people would not even be earning a fraction of, right? So first determine what comes naturally to you. What's just that random stuff that you do, you enjoy doing, but you do it very well because it just flows. Then where are you? Are you an undergraduate? Are you a fresh graduate? Are you a corper? Are you already working? Are you trying to transition into a tech career? Are you trying to transition into a different career? Where exactly are you right now? What's your current status? Are you unemployed? Are you running your own business? Just write that down too. Now, next question is, what do I need to create value in this place? So in the place you are, don't try to jump to the next. First of all, ask yourself where you are right now. How can you create more value there? How can you increase the amount of value you are creating? Why? Because the more you create value, the more value will be given to you, monetary and otherwise. And also the more you develop and gain mastery in that skill or set of skills, because that would be the door opener for the next. How much you have fine-tuned the skills and created value where you are right now will open the door to the next phase you are looking for. You may not have the name for that next phase. That's what I'm saying. No, first of all, start from a job title. You may not have the name for it because you probably do not know the name. I started working where I am working right now with the name tag head of community. I never thought there was a role named head of community. But when I looked at job description, I'm like, gosh, I've been doing this before. I know how to do this. This is me. This describes me. And I applied and I got in. It's on head of community. So would I know to start searching for a job called head of community? No. But when I saw it, I knew this was me because I was prepared for it. I stayed in a place and done consistently that same thing, so much so that I was so confident. And by the time I was going through the application process, which took a month, I was just confident. If you ask my family members that were around me, I was confident I was going to get it because I knew how good I was. And it's not even pride. It's just being assured that you are good. And this is what that would do for you. So what do I need to create value in this place that I am currently? Now, where do I want to be based on my interest and experiences? What's the next? What does it look like? Please don't write a job role. You can even write a job description, but don't write a role. Don't write a title. Just describe what the next will be based on all of these experiences that you've had, based on all these interests that you have. What does it look like? Where do you want to be in 5 years, in 1 year, in 6 months? You don't even have to do 25 years like I did. So what do I need to get there? Do you need to get additional skills? Do you need to practice more? Do you need to expand the range of skills within that same area? For example, I'm actually currently learning SEO, content SEO. I create content and I write. And I've recently, in the past, since this year began, or since December, I started learning more about storytelling. Now, storytelling is not just anyhow writing. You need to learn. There are actually principles and techniques to it. I started learning about storytelling, and now recently I've added content SEO. Some of you, I used to tell you, reach out to people who can actually help you. I just thought, okay, I want to learn SEO. And I went to LinkedIn and I searched SEO something, check all my connections. And I picked one person. I reached out to him and he was like, why not? I can have a call with you. And we are jumping on a call next week. So sometimes when we say these things, it's not because, it's not just some buzzwords or just some theoretical things. It's something that I have done, and I'm telling you right now, I've done in the past. All of the opportunities I've gotten was through referrals, people recommending me for something, and I've just gotten opportunities because I look prepared for it, or I am prepared for it. So what do you need to get to where you want to get to? That's another question. What exactly do you need to get to where you want to get to? Evaluate that. Then why? Why do you want to go where you are going? That's like the cocoa of the matter. Because it will keep you on the days where things are difficult. There are many times like that. On the journey to your career or through your career path, there are so many difficulties, but if you can overcome, you will enjoy the results of it. So you need to establish why today if you've not established it in the past. Your questions, please. I now have just 10 minutes left, so I would like to start taking questions already. Frameworks to start: observation, volunteering. Observe yourself. That's what I mean by observation. Volunteering: use what you see about yourself, whether for free or for paid. Just volunteer if you have to. Exploration: don't worry, touch a lot on a lot of different things. I mean, I just said I want to create content for Instagram. I had to learn video editing. I'd known how to use a tool before. I had to learn how to use another tool. And when another tool comes, I will have to learn it again. I mean, my streaming software, I did something wrong, and that's why I was not able to stream today, right? But I had to learn how to use it at when I had my masterclass last month, right? So you explore, you do a lot of different things that you might not have been doing before. Then you skill up, you keep upskilling. Like I said, I want to learn content SEO. I'm already on it. I've been watching videos on HubSpot and doing a lot of things and trying to do an audit, just taking initiative. Then volunteering again, you speak up, talk about what you're doing, like I'm telling you right now. So in case you have opportunities around SEO, you see, talk about what you're doing so that people can give you access. Just the way I reached out to that guy on LinkedIn and he's ready to have a call with me because I didn't keep it to myself. I talked to a friend and he sent me many, many links. So you see, talk about what you're doing so that you can gain access to opportunities, then be diligent with it. I'm not seeing any question, and that's why I'm still going on, right? I hope I didn't miss it. Okay, no questions just yet. Talk about what you are doing and keep moving on from there. Then, how do you start? This is my final slide. How do you start? You know how I said that you consider job requirements first of all, even before the job title, where you are going, when you're trying to pick an opportunity. Now that's where you start from. That's how you start. Work your way backward from a foreseeable future. So do you want to work at Google as a product manager? Today, right now, go and search on Google's career site and check past jobs that were posted or their LinkedIn or somewhere and check the job description, check the requirements. When you look at the requirements and compare it to where you are today, compare it to who you are right now and your level, your skills, ask yourself, am I there yet? If you are not there, look at the gaps that you have to fill. Write them somewhere and go back again and start working on those skills. In 6 months' time, come back and compare with that job description. If you are good enough, then apply to Google. Don't wait for anybody because you've already worked your way backwards from the future to where you are currently so that you can bridge the gap between now and the future. Nobody will hand it to you. You actually have to take a step by yourself. So that's how you are able to move forward in your career. Look at the future, work your way back, and see what the missing link is and start working on it till you reach that point. And use all the framework that I said on this page. Speak up about it and be diligent in what you're doing. Then, who do you want to be known as? That's also another way to work your way backwards, right? Who do you want to be perceived as? You want to build a personal brand around something? Then start working on that thing so that by the time you are speaking about it, people will consider you an authority in that line and they will be able to give you access to opportunities. So just because, for example, I create my own content and speak around topics that I'm interested in, that I want to use to impact people and all of that, I've gained access to speaking opportunities because of that. And that's just an example. So I want to be known as someone who speaks around this kind of topic. So I didn't wait for somebody to come and be looking for me. It's not just a desire in my heart. I started to do things around it, things that were public, so that people would see it and know that this person knows something about this aspect, and they'll be able to, give me access to the kind of opportunities and the kind of audiences that I want to actually speak to and impact. And my impact can increase in measure. So you see, that's how we do it. So, but since there are no questions, which is fine by the way, and of course I'm open to questions. I used to answer questions from people on my Instagram. Some people DM me and I answer questions. Sometimes I'll give them my WhatsApp number and we'll have a call or something like that. And I answer questions on my LinkedIn too sometimes. So feel free to shoot me a DM anytime, just for questions, not for coaching, because my coaching is paid right now, right? Just questions and I'll answer. But I want you to guys to give me your feedback about this. How did it go for you? Did you pick up something important? What's your next step right from here? I want to really, really know about that. And I'm having another masterclass this month. I'm already considering, it might not be live, it might just be a recording that I put on my YouTube and share, depending on how it goes. It's about how to secure career opportunities. So I'm just going to tell you what has worked for me and how you can also do that for yourself. So it's happening, I think, the end of this month, either 28th or 29th, one of those days. I'm going to post it and it's going to go live. Then my one-on-one session, if you want me to now apply this principle with you based on your own personal life, based on your own situation, you can book a one-on-one with me. So I have a different kind of one-on-one package for students and fresh graduates, right? Because I feel like students are really just students. So nowadays, I know you guys are really going very far compared to, the past generations. So if you're a student, you have this link. If you're not a student or not a fresh graduate, you also have this link. I'll book a session with me anytime. And that's it. I hope, I don't know, if you gain some value, just drop it for me in the comments. If this did anything for you, if you're able to gain some level of clarity on how to move on from here, just drop it for me in the comments. I just want to see within the few minutes that we have left on this call. I deliberately left this limited Google Meet call because I wanted to ensure that I do not exceed 1 hour in any of my master classes. So just to manage time properly. So if this helped you, if this is going to change something for you, if you know what next to do, just type something in the comments in the next few minutes, the next 2 minutes or so. Just type something for me in the comments. You don't have to write what you're going to do. Just say, okay, I got this. This is what I'm going to do next, or I'm going to take an action next, or whatever it is you're going to do. And well, as we're doing that, let's connect on LinkedIn, Instagram, and TikTok. Well, TikTok is not particularly a place to connect, but I post content there, so you can just check out my content. And I also have a book on purpose that is free to download. If you go to my Instagram, you'll see it on my bio. On this book, I wrote an entire chapter on purpose and career. So in case I have not really answered your question in that line, there's a chapter in that particular book about purpose and career. So if you're trying to also take action on your career, I also have another chapter on that book. If you're trying to come up with a vision for yourself, for your future, I also have a chapter there as well. So you can download that for free on my, either through this link or on my social media, mainly Instagram. Yeah, thank you, Oreoluwa. Thank you, Oreoluwa. So time is running out. Anybody else? Thank you, Oreoluwa. She learned so much from this session that she has started mapping out the path to go. I'm glad to hear that. Okay, so the links are in the comments right now. So if you want to click any of them, whether to give feedback or whether to book a session or whether to download the book, whatever, just feel free to do that. So thank you so much, everybody, for attending. I hope to see you guys around. Bye. I can't believe I forgot one step.